WNYC supporters include Mount Sinai, using leading research and clinical trials. Experts at the Mount Sinai Tisch Cancer Center deliver personalized treatments for patients. Learn more at mountsinai.org/cancercare. We find a way, Mount Sinai.
Are you a WNYC monthly sustaining donor? Thank you. We know your membership is important to you, and it's important to WNYC. If your credit card was recently reissued, please take a moment to update your information online at wnyc.org/update or give us a call at 888-376-WNYC. Better yet, use your checking account and you won't have to worry about expired or replaced cards again. And thank you for helping WNYC thrive.
Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, I'll talk with comedian Jacqueline Novak about Get on Your Knees, her debut on Netflix.
You know, it's like any headline about the show, like if it said something about male fragility, I'd be like, no, like, it's like if you could say what the thing meant, you wouldn't have had to say the thing.
Jacqueline Novak, next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour. Listen tomorrow morning at 10 on 93.9 FM or get the podcast.
It's 6:51. Later on Morning Edition, police in Austin, Texas are recommending that a stabbing of a Palestinian American be prosecuted as a hate crime. It's the latest in a series of attacks that appear to target Palestinian Americans. We'll have more on that next hour right here on WNYC. 43 and partly cloudy. Those clouds give way to some sunshine today, and we'll have high temperatures in the low 50s in the city. Then tomorrow, slim chance of showers, clouds, and maybe that temperature will hit 60 degrees on Saturday. Right now, 43 at 6:51.
Why again is it 2 to 4 times cheaper to buy some prescription drugs in, say, Australia, Canada, or France?
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Charles Schwab. Schwab believes every investor deserves to work with a firm they can count on, with financial consultants ready to serve clients and 24/7 live help.
I'm David Brancaccio in New York. The CEOs of 3 pharmaceutical giants got tough questions yesterday about the venerable arrangement where medicines can cost a lot more in the U.S. than in some other countries. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has some details.
The hearing was held by the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, chaired by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Sanders says the drug makers charge much more for drugs here. He says the diabetes drug Januvia costs almost $7,000 in the U.S. compared to $900 in Canada and just $200 in France.
The outrageous cost of prescription drugs in America means that 1 out of 4 of our people go to the doctor, get a prescription, and they cannot afford to fill that prescription. How many die as a result of that? How many suffer unnecessarily?
Pharmaceutical executives blame the high prices on middlemen known as pharmacy benefit managers who negotiate prices with drug makers for insurance companies and employers. The CEOs also said lower drug prices would discourage research and development on new drugs. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
Number nerds, and who doesn't like a juicy round number? The popular investment tool, the S&P 500 stock index, did pop above 5000 yesterday for a bit. It's just below that to start the day. That index is up 22% in a year, 80% over 5 years. The NASDAQ index remains 1.6% below its all-time high, set in the fall of 2021. Transgender people in the U.S. have much higher rates of economic hardship than the general population, according to a survey of over 90,000 trans people. The 2022 U.S. Trans Survey is out this week. About 1 in 3 trans people said that they were living in poverty versus just over 1 in 10 for the general population. 18% were unemployed, and 11% said they've lost a job because of their gender identity or expression. Marketplace's Henry Epp reports on what is behind these outcomes.
Discrimination by hiring managers likely plays a role here, says Shanna Qatari, an associate professor at the University of Michigan.
So it might not be something as explicit as I'm not hiring you because you're trans, but I'm not hiring you because you don't match my idea of what a woman should look like.
The survey also found over a quarter of trans people couldn't afford to go to a doctor when they needed to, and that can have economic consequences too, says Rodrigo Hang-Leitonen, executive director of the National Center for Transgender Equality, which conducted the survey.
The longer any kind of health condition goes untreated, the harder it is to navigate your daily life and meet deadlines and get to work on time and things like that.
In some communities, at least, there are resources the trans community can tap into, including the San Francisco LGBT Center. Drew Lockhart is its director of employment services.
We work to really identify which employers are going to support community members.
Because an inclusive employer, Lockhart says, can help trans workers get a job and thrive in it. I'm Henry Epp for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Fidelity. A dedicated advisor can help create a wealth plan for a full financial picture. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. And by the podcast Ripple, a new investigative podcast from Western Sound and APM Studios. Listen now to Ripple.
I keep hearing about some kind of match or contest between big guys from Kansas City and San Francisco on Sunday. The prediction is more than 100 million people are going to tune into the Super Bowl. It's very rare that so many people will look at the same thing at the same time in our streaming when we want to era. This time of year, I get to talk to Janine Poggi, the editor-in-chief of Ad Age, who's gotten a look at more of the ads in advance than I have. Hey, Janine.
Hi, it's my favorite time.
Now, you've seen more of the ads than I have. I've poked through a bunch. I didn't see anything that just, was so side-splitting I couldn't breathe. Did you see anything funny?
You know, it's the problem with humor, right? A lot of it sort of blends together. It takes a lot to stand out when you try to do humor, and a lot of the Super Bowl ads are. I thought the BMW ad with Christopher Walken, which you have a whole bunch of people trying to imitate him, a little cameo from Usher in it. I thought that was funny.
Nice ride.
It's the real deal. 100% electric.
It's the real deal.
Yeah.
Janine, that is the one that I did think was funny. It was about, except no substitutes, there's only one authentic BMW and one authentic Christopher Walken. Yeah, and what else do you like?
I like the E-Trade one. The E-Trade Babies, always a fan favorite, right? But the E-Trade Babies are playing pickleball, and it was just cute, right? Not laugh out loud, but enjoyable and cute nonetheless.
These guys are intense. We got nothing to worry about. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you got to work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement.
Now, once upon a time in this world, Janine, there was an industry called cryptocurrency, and they used to, back in the day, advertise a lot in the Super Bowl. You seeing much crypto?
No, not surprising here, given what happened with the crypto market. We did see like a crypto bubble of sorts where a bunch of crypto brands advertised, sort of like the .com bubble, if you remember. All of the brands, the Pets.com of the world, that advertised in the Super Bowl and then the next year went out of business. Similarly, we're just not seeing that in the Super Bowl this year. There is some emerging tech conversations going on, especially around AI, not necessarily AI companies advertising in the Super Bowl, but how AI is being applied.
And it is the 2024 Super Bowl. I'm supposed to say these syllables: Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Are brands jumping aboard that at all?
I don't see how we could not talk about that. Look, are you necessarily going to see Taylor Swift in a commercial? No, not necessarily. But there is no way. We know that all of these agencies that create the Super Bowl commercials for brands, they're in their war rooms, gearing up with the meme factories of any way brands could lean into any Taylor Swift moment.
Janine Poggi, editor at Ad Age, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Janine and I also discuss how brands are avoiding politics and issues, capital I, in their Super Bowl ads, trying to keep trolls and backlash at bay this year. That'll also be in the Marketplace Morning Report podcast feed or online, streaming from marketplace.org. Our executive producer is Kelly Silvera. Our digital producer is Dylan Mietnin. Our engineers are Jessen Dueller and John Brewington. In New York, I'm David Brancaccio. It's Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
WNYC is supported by Optimum Business, offering business fiber with speeds up to 8 gig. More information is available at 855-2-OPTIMUM or at optimum.com/business.
On last week's Wait, Josh Gondelman realized that streaming TV has really changed how we spend the days of a year.
And now it's just like 600,000 episodes of The Office.
Exactly. I'm Peter Sagal. A lot of the TV we've been watching has been made by actor and producer Lena Waithe, and on this week's Wait, we get a chance to thank her. Join us for the news quiz from NPO. Tomorrow morning at 11 on 93.9 FM and AM 820 WNYC.